Did you know that a single ITAR violation can result in fines of up to $1 million and 20 years imprisonment? Are you confident your business is fully protected against such risk? Hi, my name is Sumaya Jibril. I'm a licensed customs broker and the CEO of Phoenix Global, and today we're going to talk about export controls. First, let's start with the reason for export control. The US participates in various multilateral export control regimes to prevent the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction and prevent destabilizing accumulation of conventional weapons and related materials. In this situation, for example, for the accumulation of conventional weapons, people can take like the scope of a rifle, like export it by itself, or just pieces of parts and export it out of the country in order to make a bigger piece. So that's also what it protects against. Who has the jurisdiction of export controls? Three agencies: the Bureau of Industry and Security, the DDTC, the Office of Foreign Asset Control, OFAC. So let's start with the Bureau of Industry and Security. BIS has jurisdiction over export and re-export of commodities, software, and technology, falling under the jurisdiction of EAR, Export Administration Regulation. The Directorate of Defense Trade Control, also known as DDTC, controls the export and temporary import of defense articles and defense services. OFAC administers and enforces economic and trade sanctions based on U.S. foreign policy and national security goals. So our focus is going to be DDTC and ITAR today. DDTC seeks to facilitate legitimate defense trade to partners and allies, while at the same time denying adversaries access to sensitive U.S. technology. DDTC's mission is to ensure commercial exports of defense articles and defense services advance U.S. national security and foreign policy objectives. So the DDTC has four structures: DTCC, DTCL, DTCM, DTCP. So let's start with the DTCC. DTCC stands for Office of Defense Trade Controls Compliance. The mission is to stay compliance with the Arms Export Control, also known as an ICA or AECA, and ITAR, the International Traffic in Arms and Regulation, through civil enforcement and coordination with law enforcement colleagues regarding criminal violations. They review voluntary disclosures regarding potential violations. Now let's go to the DTCL. The DTCL is the Office of Defense Trade Control and Licensing. DTCL reviews and adjudicates requests to export, re-export, retransfer, and temporarily import defense articles and defense services and engage in brokering activities. DTCM, Office of Defense Trade Controls Management. They serve across a wide portfolio of critical programmatic and support functions. DTCM has four divisions. They manage. It's operations, outreach, contract management, and information technology. DTCP, Office of Defense Trade Control Policy. They serve as the lead for maintaining and interpreting the ITAR, according to the regulation 22 CFR 120-130, and its United States munitions list. ITAR compliance. Why is it important? ITAR violation can be harmful to the national security and foreign policy of the U.S. It may result in civil penalties, criminal penalties, and other costs, including loss of reputation and rejection of export license. To ensure compliance with the ITAR, the DTCC strongly encourages registered exporters, manufacturers, brokers, and other engaged defense trades to maintain compliance programs that assist in monitoring and controlling of exports and other regulated activities. Who needs to comply with ITAR? It's important to know your business obligation and risk areas. So the individuals or entities that need to comply with ITAR are manufacturers of defense articles, exporters of defense articles, temporary importers of defense articles, brokers of defense articles, handlers of technical data controlled by ITAR, providers of defense services. What is controlled by ITAR? Items listed on the U.S. munition list, USML, technical data related to USML items, and defense services. Key ITAR requirements. Requirement 1. So there are 3 of them. Requirement 1, registration. Register with the DDTC and mandatory for all entities covered by ITAR, and it must be renewed annually. Second, record keeping. The record must be maintained as required by 22 CFR 122.5. Keep detailed documentation of all ITAR related activities. The retention period is typically 5 years. Requirement 3, licensing and approval. Obtain proper license or approval before exporting defense articles, temporarily importing defense articles, and engaging in brokering activities. Establish and maintain a compliance program. Why establish a compliance program? It is strongly advised by the Defense Trade Controls Compliance to help protect sensitive U.S. technologies, reduce risk of inadvertent violations, essential for all parties dealing with USML items. Understanding your business. What is that? It's analyzing your risk, your business operations, identifying risk areas, and things to consider are brokering activities, exporting activities, manufacturing activities, handling of technical data, possession of defense articles. Key characteristic of an effective compliance program. It is clearly documented in writing, tailored to your specific business needs, regularly reviewed and updated, fully supported by management. Here are the things you need to know before you export. The Office of Defense Trade Control Compliance recommends that exporters, temporary importer, or a broker of a defense article or a provider of a defense service pays attention to the following. They must complete the registration requirements, know the relevant U.S. munition list category, know the end user and end user of the defense article or services. Here's why it's important. The end user could be on a restricted list or denied party list. And if you're sending it to them, you're liable. So it's important to know who the end user is and what they're going to use it for. Know the prohibited destinations. Screen all parties. Ensure party names are accurate and complete. Ensure all information provided for a requested license or approval is accurate. Be aware of the reporting requirements under 22 CFR 130. Know who's responsible for filing, retention, and returning of export license, and filing of export information based on the 22 CFR 123.22. Thank you so much for attending this very short webinar, and please let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and please reach out to Phoenix Global. If you have any questions, we'll be able to assist you with your export needs. Again, my name is Sumaya Jibril. I'm a licensed customs broker with Phoenix Global.